Grandpa? Well, he found good in everybody. I don't think he disliked anybody. He was quite a guy, yep. He treated everybody the same, and everybody was equal, and yep, like I said, he kept notes on everything, you know. We'd be out in the woods and we'd find a survey stake from back in the CC days. He'd jot it down in his notebook. He knew where we were at. But yep, he was patient, very patient. You know, my mother was widowed with 5 children when he married her, and, you know, being a stepfather. And all of his stepsons, I believe, you know, respected him, and they all loved him, I believe. He was a good stepfather, as good as anybody could be, I believe. So he was a unique man, patient and forgiving. A lot like me, eh? Well, first buck actually was a wounded buck. I ran across a blood trail. It wasn't bleeding much. And I stopped and looked around, and the blood looked fairly old. And I thought, well, nobody was following it. I thought, well, must not be hit too bad, but I'll follow it anyway. So I followed it, I don't know, half a mile or so, and I jumped it up and just got a glimpse of it, ran across the road. So I followed it across the road, and I don't know, jumped it again. This time I saw it was a buck. Didn't get a shot at it. So next time I jumped it, I did get a shot at it, so I shot it, hit it. It was a nice buck, 11-pointer, heavy horn buck. Yep. So that was my first buck. So.
When I was a kid growing up, without question, the greatest 9 days of the year was the Wisconsin deer season in November. There was no farm work, I got to skip school, and I got to spend time with my dad.
Well, Billy was always out on his own, like I said, snaring cats in the barn or trapping this or that. Wasn't too pleasant about the snaring the cats for Mama. Well, one time Billy was a three-wheeler. We had a little big red three-wheeler. We were milking cows, and he was always running around. He had rubber knee boots on and shorts. He come in the barn, Dad, I was on the trail and I stopped. There was a big snapping turtle in the trail, and I stopped, and he bit the knob on the front tire and he won't let go. A big snapping turtle had grabbed the front tire, and he got scared and came running up the house.
At some point as a teenager, my perception of hunting shifted, and it morphed into something that honestly kind of got away from me for a while. There was my pride, my ego came into it. I was worried about scores, and really I became selfish. It became competitive. I was 30 years old, I was a new father, and I had just shot the 2 biggest bucks of my life 10 days apart. And that was a light switch moment in my life, because I knew that my wife, my daughter, no one, certainly not God, nobody was impressed with what I had done. Nobody cared what the tape measure read. And it's funny how, looking back, when I was just a little kid, first started hunting, I had a hand-me-down 243. I had a pocket knife that I'd won at the fair, and I wore the same holy boots hunting that I wore down the barn. And now here I am today. I've got sponsors basically giving me any piece of gear that I want or need, but yet I find myself trying to navigate my way back to the innocence, the simplicity, and the purity of the sport that just came naturally and happened inherently when I was 12 years old. And so I sit here today, 45 years old, looking back at it now. I've wandered all over the world. I've had so many adventures. But I realized that God was guiding me the whole time. Wasn't always listening, but He was there. Romans 8:28 says that God works for good all things to those who love Him and are called according to His purpose. And this is the story about how He brought it all together full circle.
Well, I hunt because of my father, I guess. I trailed along behind him, and he'd stop and he'd take time to study nature and different things. A lot of guys just they want to go hunting to kill a deer or for meat or something, but he respected the animals and nature. That's what was different about him. Well, the time I come back from the service, when he was trapping beaver, he had a big lodge up by Moose Junction that he had trapped, and then he was scouting around, he found another one. So he had set 4 traps there, and it was a big lodge, and he figured the beaver were hungry. They didn't have much feed, and he figured there was a lot of beaver in that lodge. So he said, you wouldn't want to come with me? I set a few more traps. He said, I don't know, they're pretty hungry. I might have 4 beaver there. So I decided to go with him. I was still milking cows there at that time, and so I went up with him. And well, we got to this back lodge, and he had 2 big blanket beavers. I don't know, the other traps were sprung. So it was getting late in the afternoon, and I said, well, geez, Dad, I got to get back for milking. So then I said, well, I'll take off and get back to the truck and warm it up. He said, okay. Well, I was just out of the service a couple of years. I figured I was in good shape. Of course, we were back on snowshoes 2-3 miles, and so I took off. And well, Dad put his pack sack on. He was adjusting it, the weight and everything, so it was good. And so well, I took off, got up out of the flowage up on the hill and looked back, and he was just slowly putting his pack on. So I took off. Well, I was starting to work up a sweat, so I stopped. I don't know, I think I took a jacket off and stuck it in the pack sack, and I looked back. Well, here come Dad. So I thought, geez, he gained some pretty good ground. So I thought, well, I'm not going to let him pass me. So threw the pack sack back on. I was leaning up against a tree and hinched it up, took off, went down through a couple swamps up a hill, and I was out of wind. So I stopped, leaned against a tree, was breathing, looked back. Well, here come Dad again. I thought, well, geez, I thought he'd take a break. Well, he come up over the hill, so I took off. Next valley and up the hill, I had to take a break. So I leaned against a tree, and pretty soon, crunch, crunch, crunch. Here come Dad. I said, ain't you gonna take a break? No, he said, I got my pace, I'm not gonna stop. So I figured, well, I'll pass him up. Well, when I got back to the truck, it was nice and warm. It was kind of a quiet ride back home. My father-in-law said, boy, that's the tale of the hare and the tortoise. He never did stop the 2-3 miles or whatever it was back there. He always kind of went different places. We didn't hunt the same place all the time like a lot of people have a hunting camp, but he always liked to go around, look over the hill, find a different place, new territory, he'd call it. I'd like to see some new territory. So that's why we'd always go different places usually. A couple years in a row, and then we'd go to a different place. That's like, you know, deer hunting in camp when we used to go up north. Well, you come back, everybody went their own separate ways. You know, you heard different stories of what they saw or what, you know, happened that day. I mean, that's the joy of hunting, really. You know, it's nice if somebody gets something. You know, that's what my dad always said. You know, he was always happy that the other hunters shot something. You know, and that's the joy of hunting. You know, is that you carry on the tradition and the camaraderie of hunting, and you know, meeting different people now, like you know, have when you're guiding. You know, you have a way of stimulating other lives, you know, and making things happen that, you know, they enjoy. Hopefully they enjoy it anyway, working with you.
You might have to cut him off. You gotta slow him down. He ain't gonna make it to the end.
I'm just thinking that.
Either that or he might not make it alive to the end. All right, we'll let you finish that off. He's getting pretty lippy.
To be honest with you, I'm expecting to have a good time with Billy Molls. I grew to love the guy just by watching his videos, really, and I know that he's a man of principle and a man of faith, and I just wanted to spend some time out here, and I always enjoy hunting. It's about 1.5 inches high here. Which is
my primary focus for hunting is relationship driven, right? You gain a deeper sense of understanding the more time you spend with people in general.
I mean, I woke up and I couldn't wait to get with my grandfather and go into the woods. He was a well-known man, everybody knew who he was, and he was thought of as a good human being and just a man that provided for his family. He was known as a great hunter, and I wanted to do what he did. I loved it.
just because of that admiration for my father getting these deer, why I felt like you know how boys, they want to be like their dad, and we aspired to do the same.
Yeah, so like your boots and stuff, you can wear those in the house, and when you come out here, you put your boots on, and you basically...
Yeah, it's a good time to be alone with God and talk to Him. I remember one time I hiked Half Dome in California there. You know, it's about a 9-hour round trip to the top of that and back. And told somebody when I got back, I said, that was the best 8 hours I've had, because I was alone, and best 8 hours I've ever had in the mountains. I had an 8-hour talk with God that day, so.
If you wear a hat, it has to be orange. You got an orange vest. There's probably about 50 of them left. Miles away.
Look, he has water.
The greatest lessons can't be taught, they have to be experienced. You know, I'm older. You know, I can't pack out the heavy loads that I used to, but my experience, my 25 years, I'm more valuable. I can find somebody that can schlep the heavy loads, right? But you can't replace that. And you can't hack that. And we live in this world where everybody wants a hack, right? They want to find a quicker, better way to do something. Yeah, that hack might help you now, but until you understand the foundational principles of that hack, it will never help you beyond that one instance. But once you know a business from the ground up, when you start digging the outhouse hole, and then you go and you start to, you guide and you fly, and you know the business in your industry from the ground up, holy smokes. At that point, you're indispensable.
Well, then you're making the sandwiches too. Good.
Your name is now because everybody needs an Packer, because you can't get the guy until you're Packer, so you don't even get the whole name. Packer, there's some expletives that end in ER. Did you ever see in those videos of Doug Elliott? We nicknamed him Because we didn't want to give him the status to have like an actual title.
Yeah.
I was like, what am I doing building
You haven't
the
earned
fire?
that yet.
Yeah, what am I doing building the fire here?
I'm Chris Anderson. I work for Billy full-time. I'm kind of his right-hand man, jack of all trades, and I've recently earned the nickname of Packer, Dragger, whatever you need me for. So, but I've been working for Billy since June, and just been living the dream. We built that guide shack out there this summer, and been doing some editing, some shipping, some planning, some dreaming, and can't wait to see where things go over the winter here. So.
Pressure to produce, actually, I just feel more pressure, like getting
Crying at 1 in the morning.
I used to feel it more when I was younger, but
So we told these guys yesterday, we warned them fair and square, if they were the last ones in, they were gonna have to put this baby on. So we're gonna go roust them out. You guys decent in there? Now, we warned you, Jimbo. This is your official warning. We're gonna put this right here as a reminder, so.
What is this morning?
Up and at 'em, let's go.
Oh, the last lady up? Is that the deal?
That's exactly it. Everyone's dressed and fed.
There's something wrong with you.
all right. So there's this old outfitter. His name was, and he guided in the Southern Brooks Range. And I mean, I believe this. I've heard so many crazy stories. Like this guy had a mule that lived in his house, and I mean, this guy is hardcore, guided for like 40 plus years. One of the toughest men on the planet. So he had this Packer, this guy that wanted to guide. And so he flew him in the spring, dropped him off, told him to start cutting an airstrip. And he said, we'll be back to pick you up, come in for hunting season. So he dropped him off in like May. Comes back in August. He's like, he's still there, he's ready to be a guide. That's the key to success in guiding. Really dumb, really tough, you've got a future there. He's like, hey, can I check your weapons? And the old guy goes, sure, be careful, sometimes I forget to unload it. He said, well, it better be unloaded this time. Oh yeah. That's what hunting camps are all about.
I'm taking
doing stupid stuff and giving
Can I
Jim
take this
purple
whole
everywhere.
hunting with me?
Yeah.
Oh, that
See you,
hunting
ladies.
hunting-
You guys are gonna have to sit on each other's lap. I can put the corn in the back. All right, so Brian and Jim are with me. You can just pile your backpack on the kids. Brian, you want to sit in front? If you can fit that bag by your feet, that'd be great. Oh yeah, he loves having you guys here.
I can see that.
It just lights him up. He misses the old deer camp camaraderie thing, and
the best.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's, I don't know,
think
that's
he
the most.
enjoys telling stories and stuff. I like hearing.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like, I don't know if telling is the right word, maybe embellishing or
Yeah.
blowing completely out of proportion.
This is the song? What? What the heck?
Grab this, grab everything, my backpack. Is that my backpack? Yep.
Not on, are you still there?
Yeah, he's out in the open. You see him?
No.
Where those 4 oak trees are? Where we saw the backs of those ones?
Yep.
Yep, they're right there. They're sparring.
Well, everybody's been seeing deer. I'm gonna pick them up here first evening. One, George, who was with Chris, he saw 2 nice bucks. I guess they were about 130s. They were like 270 yards away, moving in the timber, and they couldn't get a clear shot. One guy had a coyote run through, cleared some deer out on him. But that was it for big bucks. My dad spotted a nice buck on the road, and I saw it as well. Nice 8-point, 10-point, 18 inches wide. So we kind of moved Brian from where he was to hopefully get him in position. So I'm hopeful that one of those guys will find that buck. But windy today, so they're probably laying down. But we got about prime time, 10-15 minutes of prime time this evening. Hopefully something will come out. If it doesn't, we'll hear some stories back at the house around the fireplace. And I don't know. I know this is the stuff that my dad lives for. He loves to hear the stories, and when we do our drives and stuff, he's always kind of the drive master. You know, he's been living on this land and farming this land, hunting this land, some of it for 60 plus years. He's 75 now, so 70 years. He's probably been picking rocks on these fields for 70 years. So he knows what those deer are going to do before they do most of the time, I think. So it's always kind of fun to orchestrate some drives, and for him to just hear their stories and their appreciation of what they see and what they experience on the land that he's stewarded is pretty special for him, and that's special for me. And this is kind of a full circle thing for me to, you know, run a business with my family, but more importantly, I think allow my kids to meet other people from other walks of life that want to experience our way of life, and then we have the humble privilege to share that with other people and try to give them, you know, we've got 5 days of their lives to give them an experience that hopefully they'll never forget. And I don't know, all the things that I've done and all the places that I've been in the world, I don't know that it gets any better than this right here, you know, to come home with my family and have a nice meal and sit down with people and tell some stories, and that's about as good as it gets on this earth, I think. Doe right there. We just kicked up a big buck about 3 minutes after legal shooting light. We'll see what Brian says, but it had a big swollen neck on it. I'm kind of thinking, looked like it was chasing a doe. I just caught a glimpse of it here again. So we'll see what Brian has to say. Had a tornado pass through here 2 years ago. I don't know, there was literally thousands, tens of thousands of trees flat on this land. And I walked back here thinking that this stand that's 20 feet in the air on telephone poles would surely be flattened, because it came from the northwest and it's a wide open field. 90% of the trees were flat and this sucker was standing. So my German heritage paid off, because I build things to last about 4 lifetimes. Here. Good. What was this last buck at the end? It looked like he had a big neck that came through. Was it a big buck?
Oh yeah, a nice one.
Yeah, okay. I
Man,
think
he come in there and
saw.
those deer just scattered, boy.
Did you see him before we came through? That buck?
When did you come through?
Well, when we pulled up just here 3 minutes ago, because we saw him, we kicked him up right there. Oh. Did you see him before that?
No.
Yeah, because it was like 3 minutes after light.
I've seen a buck out there. That's probably still him right there. Those two right there, one of them was a buck. But he come through here.
Yep. I could see his rack. That was a good buck. Yeah, you needed about 4 more minutes.
Neck about that big.
Yeah, so I saw his neck right away. I told Nate, I'm like, that's the big buck.
Yeah.
Well, we'll go grab Jim.
You know what? When I looked at that thing, I looked at my watch. 16:59.
Yeah.
But you got it.
Well, I wouldn't. Yeah, that's why I came. Yeah.
I heard 3 shots.
I heard 3 shots. It sounded like they were north of us.
Oh, I thought they were right there.
I'll let you grab your pea jug.
You don't want to hold it?
Rifle's unloaded?
Yes. Like you said, he's a good 18 inches. The other one I saw that he was real tall, but he was a pretty deer. Okay. And then I saw another 8 that was smaller. Okay. So I saw a lot of deer. And then I saw an 8 this morning, 6 or 8 this morning.
Did you shoot that wide one on the last day?
On the last day?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I wanted to talk to you about it because I know you got certain rules, so I wanted to see.
You shoot whatever you want, but
yeah.
No, if you want to pass them up, that don't bother me. But I'm just curious. Yeah.
I was passing him up because I just would like to have a larger rack.
Yep. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, we'd dig potatoes in the fall. Of course, everybody was so cheap you couldn't afford antifreeze. We'd put water in the tractors. It was freezing at night, and so we'd drain the water out of the tractors. And one of the hired men, it was his job, that was his tractor basically when we were digging potatoes and loading potatoes. So come in the morning, and while he started the tractor up, my dad hollered at him, "Hey, did you put water in there?" He said, "No, I forgot." My dad said, "Well, when you drain it at night, you put the radiator cap on the seat and the drain plug So if your brain won't tell you what to do, your ass will tell you what to do. Of course, he kind of hung his head and walked away, but it was a true story. When I was 8, I was trapping on my own a little bit, so of course I went with him when I was younger than that, but he showed me what to do. But yeah, so basically he was trying to make $1 them days too. Remember one year we all wanted a TV set, so if he caught $500 worth of fur, we'd buy a TV. So muskrats were about $1 at that time, so he did end up catching 500 muskrats. He caught 108 the first day the season was open. So he had a system where he'd go down the river and my mom would pick him up and drop him off and go down the next river or creek, and she'd drop him off and then pick him up, and he had traps and stuff stored. So I don't know how many traps he had out, but he had quite a few. We got the TV. I know my older brother was skinning muskrats, and he said he was tired of skinning muskrats because his farts taste like muskrats or smell like muskrats. Of course, we even ate muskrat too, so that wasn't too good either.
You couldn't get a more solid butt plate, so you got to be a real man to shoot this old battle axe here.
I tell you what, I was feeling it the other day.
I figured, yeah, you would. Yeah.
I mean, I just wanted to wait and see.
What time of the day did you see him?
Time
Is that
you come.
2:30, 2 o'clock?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Three.
After I came through with Brian.
It took a while to work his way that way to him.
Yeah. And then again, I saw spike. I saw 4-point. I saw, I think, a 6 or an 8 early in the morning. But he had a nice shape, but he was just a basket. And then I probably saw 15 doe.
Good afternoon.
Hello there.
A little breezy.
A little breezy.
She's a cold one.
A little bit.
You play basketball, Charlie?
No. No, I did.
We did
Volleyball.
Volleyball.
Oh yeah.
like the quarter mile or whatever it was.
I play
He's doing really good.
It was windy. But
It was windy, but it was
we
a
saw
great
deer.
day.
I mean, we saw,
Yeah.
we saw some of the same deer twice, I'm sure, but we saw
Not
30 sightings of deer. You know? But
Yeah, they hide in that grass themselves.
They do,
pretty good,
man.
don't
Oh,
they?
yeah.
They'll sneak right up on you.
we were talking about like, oh, should we, sneak down closer tomorrow or do a pop-up blind or
No, absolutely not. We've hunted that spot for 25
Hey, it was
years.
his fault. It was his fault. He said
Stay
it.
right there. Trust the guy. Trust the guy.
Trust the guy.
Trust the farmer.
I'm okay with medium size. You got me convinced.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
That was a quick attitude.
Start to finish.
Yeah.
Some of us would love to have medium size.
What I'm worried about is he going to stand there long enough for me to look at him and decide whether I want to shoot him?
Yeah, well, ideally you want the one that's just no doubt.
Precious Lord, we just thank you, Father, for another awesome day and keeping everybody safe. And we just ask you now to bless this food in your name.
Amen.
Almost like the next thing on the list.
No way.
Hey, what does he really call you, the old man or Pop?
Dad.
Which one?
Dad, watch this. Dad.
I call them all kinds of things.
Usually Blunder Boy.
Dad, watch.
One thing about Grandpa is he always has his phone on him. Am I right, Frankie?
Yeah, you should also ask him guess who got it.
No.
Well, we got one down.
Who got it?
Say guess.
Frankie wants you to guess. Frankie wants you to guess who got it.
Oh. Gary.
Nope.
Jim.
Yep.
Yep.
I think he shot that 8-pointer, it sounds like. So we just dropped Brian off in the creek bottom, and we're gonna go home, and I'm gonna have Boo Boo grab the 4-wheeler and meet us over there, and we'll go gather him up. So I love those two. Sure, this is all highly illegal, but this is the stuff that I remember as a kid. We're going to gather Jim's buck, but just these little kinds of adventures, they love this stuff. Charlie and Frankie, they've been looking forward to this for about a month. They've been talking about it, and they've been talking about Jim and George. You know, they knew them from last year, and they're asking about, you know, Brian and Gary, the other guys. You know, where are they from? What do they do? What are they like? What do they look like? I'm like, I don't know. We just got to see. And man, so far, last 2 mornings, they've gotten up and they've made breakfast. We'll see if they finish it off, but I'm just so proud of those two. Yeah, nothing's better than doing things, working with your kids. Charlie's talking about homeschooling, and I almost kind of hope she does. She's talking about being a part of Modern Day Mountain Man, and she likes filming and photography, and I'm a blessed man, blessed beyond what I deserve, that's for sure.
So, what is happening? Who got a buck?
What's happening, Frankie?
Our hunter Jim, he just shot a buck, and we're gonna.
Big buck. I always say big buck. Is that always?
A big number.
Let's see your coonskin cap.
It's underneath my hat.
Let me see it.
But I think it's like tucked in because I don't want to take it off.
Coon or rat. I think it's actually rat. With a.
Muskrat.
Where is this beast? Well, he just crashed. Oh boy, he's got a big head on him. I don't think that nose is as short as you think he is. He's long-bodied.
That's really good.
Yeah, he's got pretty good mass.
He doesn't have that big antlers.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's been beat up a little bit, as you can see. But he was running by me. He came up from behind me, went right past the stand, and went off into the woods to the left. And that's when I shot. And then, yeah, sure was.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
Was it a grouse or a pheasant?
I think it was a grouse.
Okay, yeah, probably a grouse in these woods.
And then he went running again, and I had a shot. It was way into the woods. I wasn't sure if I was going to hit something, but I shot at him, and he just trotted off, and I saw him stop, and then I just saw him kind of trot off with some other deer, and then he came out right here. It's about 170 yards, and I was like, I can't believe he just stepped back out there.
Huh?
And then I shot again, and I saw him flinch, and I thought, I couldn't have missed.
I just got one on the
But I guess I didn't, so there he is.
Awesome.
Oh.
Well, congratulations. Yeah, did you look at his teeth?
No, I did not do that. Tell me.
Yeah, I mean, he's not ancient, but he's definitely not young. I gotta think that's a 4-year-old buck.
Yeah.
What do you think, Frankie? Any words of wisdom for us?
Yes. Jim should kiss the buck. Word of wisdom is sky is the limit.
If you believe it,
You cannot see it.
be strong and courageous.
God is with you wherever you go. Be strong.
Good thing there's snow there.
Yeah, if you're gonna be dumb, you better be tough. That's the modern day mountain man mantra.
Yeah. You're fine.
Like how I like to spend my Sundays.
Yeah. Praise the Lord. That's good. That's probably high enough to start anyway.
Well, as we got older, but that was how he was.
I like skinning them while they're warm and then butchering them when they're cold.
Yeah, it was this afternoon, probably around, what time is it now? Probably around 12:30, something like that. But the thing was, is I saw him come back. It kind of went dead. And then all of a sudden, everything came in. I had a 4-pointer come in, and then I had 2 spikes come in, chasing all the does off. And then I was sitting there watching it, and they all kept watching. I was like, there's another buck around here.
It gets pretty chilly there.
Yeah, the wind went down and it got colder when the wind went down, I think.
After 25 years, when I look back at all the hunts that I've guided, I don't remember a single score. I don't remember how many times we shot. I remember how heavy some of the packs were, but what I remember most of each individual hunt is something that at the time, a specific thing or things that at the time seemed insignificant. Those memories might just be a conversation or just some animal doing something, or a sunrise or an airplane ride, or whatever it was. And I just want to encourage anybody out there that's interested in experiencing Alaska. It is a place to go with no agenda. It's a place to just go because you can no longer stand the thought of having not at least tried. When you get to that point where the fear of failure or not getting something is dwarfed by the fear of never realizing your dream, you're ready. You're ready to experience the wilderness, to be immersed in it and receive whatever it is. That's when the life-changing aspect of being in the wilderness is going to take place. When you want to go there, experience it, win, lose, or draw, I guarantee you will not regret that you went and experienced Alaska for yourself. Just got the call. We're running old Giorgio. The Tennessee boys are 2 for 2 now. So Giorgio called. There's 4 deer right there, and we're going to pick him up and see what he's got. Send us a picture of it. Looked like probably maybe a 3.5-year-old, not a giant, but them Tennessee boys like their venison. So that's what we're going for.
Yeah, I'm glad he got one.
Farmer Joe said. Didn't he say? He said we're gonna get at least 1 more tonight, maybe 2. So
yep.
He's I don't know. I don't know. He's somewhat of a savant in that regard. He seems to. He knows what he's talking about once in a while, anyway. Give him that much.
To move it. I like to move it.
Young pop.
And because he was all the way over there past those big oaks.
Oh my gosh, you shot him that far.
And then I assumed I missed him because he didn't seem phased, and then he came towards me, and so I dialed back a little bit, and I got a little confused because there's a
what do you think,
there's
Mateo?
a 6 that's broke off on half out here too. So he was with the 6, and then there was some forkies and spikes. So I figured it was smaller than yours. So what I ended up doing was shooting another one over there for you too.
So we got all kinds of it. I said I'm already shaking. We're gonna have to get him taken care of.
Are you okay? You're like,
Yeah. Oh, well, I don't have enough clothes on.
You see him right there?
I do see
Or her, I should say.
a dove.
You had to run him down first, 300 yards.
No, I kept calling him. I said, come here. And then he came right underneath the stand, and I jumped on his back.
Get a little scope burn.
Yeah, a little bit. So it's the cost of doing business.
You left-handed?
No, I'm right-handed, but He was at 300 yards on the far end there, down by those oaks, past the oaks, and I dialed my scope, but I went over him, and then he came towards me, and I dialed it back and got one shot.
Well,
you guys always throw a warning shot.
Well, we want to make it sporting. We want to give them a fair chance.
No blood in the snow whatsoever. Dude, I really couldn't remember.
No blood in the
exactly.
snow. That's what happens when you miss.
But I didn't miss.
We've determined that he hit him in the heart 3 times through the same hole, George.
Jamie.
Yeah, the more of his face you hide, the better he looks.
I was in
Yeah, my name's Pat.
Definitely feels warmer today. Yeah. I don't know if it is or not.
Just wait, you're fine. He's not going anywhere. He's actually feeding this way a little bit.
The one on the left.
Yep. He's feeding away.
Yeah. Hit him in the front right shoulder.
Yeah, if you like it and are comfortable.
There's 2 of them. See the one on the left?
Trying to confirm.
Huh?
I'm trying to confirm. Yep, he's the one on the left. All right.
I hit him that time, didn't I?
He kicked.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm such a rookie. I should have adjusted my scope.
So that's not him, that's a different deer.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry it took me so long to get on him.
No, that's okay. You're in the moment and it's not.
I've been gun shy ever since Colorado, and I just try to make sure that. Well, Billy told us this morning this always produces.
Trust the guide, he says.
That's right.
Trust the guide.
Yeah, I'm glad you were here.
Yeah, me too. That was sure fun.
Because I had trouble finding him when he got back up into those trees. Call me back when you actually got him.
Well, shots fired.
Yeah, kind of a part of deer hunting, I don't know, kind of exciting, but we got to track a deer, so we're not sure what we got. He jumped onto the neighbor's property. He was hit. Chris said he took 3 shots. The last shot, Chris said the deer definitely reacted, said he mule kicked. So we got permission from the neighbor, and we're gonna set Gary in a spot where he might run. There's probably 2 or 3 options that almost kind of don't think he'll come this way, but it's on my dad's property, so we'll set him there. He'll sit there. Chris and I'll follow the blood. We've got good snow, probably going to be a lot of tracks where we're going, but if we can continue on blood, I think we got a good chance. Well, how good do we feel about this situation?
After what I went through a year ago, not all that good. But I hit him. Not a lot of blood.
I think what we're going to do is we'll set you up, we'll move you like maybe a half-mile away, just kind of a bottleneck of the woods. We'll set Gary there, and then you and I will take the track.
Okay.
And we'll just kind of see where it goes, and then we'll be in touch with you.
Okay.
The third shot, you know, I didn't see where it impacted, but it definitely impacted. The deer did that classic, you know, kind of mule kick, and you know, you could kind of see he was pretty focused on his next movements. You know, the blood isn't super, but there is blood, there is snow, and we got rifles.
There's Brian. So that's when it rains and pours in this business. So what you got cooking?
Well, right in the middle of that cut. Nice one come out. I don't even know what it is. It's either a strong 8 or a 10.
Okay.
But it's big.
So it's laying down?
Oh yeah.
You sleeping?
Sitting there in the middle of the cut.
Perfect. I like that because we can drive a four-wheeler to it.
Oh yeah, it's about 6 feet from that little track.
6 feet. I don't like the sounds of that. Well, send go check them out. We're tracking right now. And if it gets too dicey or hairy or we need some help, we'll come get you. But I guess if you don't mind, congratulations by the way. But if you don't mind, maybe we'll just leave the guts in it for now, and then hopefully this won't take us too long. If it looks like it's going to be a long while, you know, we might just have you strip the guts out of it. But yeah, send us a picture, go down, check them out, and yeah, we'll kind of be.
How far have you been following the trail?
We're just on our way to it now, so we haven't even started. Chris confirmed that it is hit and it's got blood, and yep. So we're going to check everything out now. My dad might swing by, but we'll figure something out. We won't be too long.
Okay, very good.
All right, congrats. Well, that could be pretty slick.
Wait, you got one?
Really nice, yeah.
We could have it all wrapped up here.
So how big was it?
What did he say? A strong 8, if not a 10-pointer. Yeah, my dad was just saying today, he's like, there's got to be another big buck running around there, so. That is not a lot. It's not a lot.
Well, he's curving around up the hill now. It didn't look good, but we are getting a little more blood just the first 50 yards into it. But I think Chris is right with this snow. I think we'll find him. If we can get any kind of blood, we got a perfect day for it. So. Gonna get him. What? You think we're gonna get him?
Oh yeah, I think so. Hopefully we do.
Significantly less blood in the last 10 yards. Hopefully that's not the case.
So Chris takes the blood, and then I go on up ahead at a pretty good idea, at least I felt where the buck would go. And the blood eventually it started to peter out, and then Chris got into the heart of the bedding area, and there's tracks everywhere, and it got to be so slow going. And at one point he bumped what he thought was the buck, but he wasn't sure, and we just decided we're just gonna back out, we'll let him wait, and then we'll regroup, come back again in the evening.
Let's go get the boss.
Brian shot one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, pretty nice 10-pointer. Got it in the shooting lane. We bumped Gary's. Yeah, it's kind of right in the heart of the thick stuff of west, so hopefully it won't go too far. And we're just gonna let it sit until after lunch, go back this afternoon and try to snag them. So.
Oh, awesome. You find, oh, you ain't been to Brian yet, huh?
Nope, we're there now. We're gonna go grab the buck from Brian right now.
Okay, awesome.
All right, so hopefully we can have them all filled out here and by the day's end, but
Yep.
we'll see. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
It's a really nice buck.
Yeah, that's a nice looking deer. That's a pretty buck.
My deer stand's kind of in the
I like him.
rocking spot.
Yeah.
He dropped in his tracks too, man.
Yeah.
Wait,
Perfect
you
shot.
gutted
See
him?
that shot, Charlie?
You gutted him?
Yep, you already gutted him. So probably where would you want to aim, Charlie? Point it where you want to aim.
Yeah, I was a little bit high.
Yep, no, that's good, but where he probably hit him, he might have clipped the spine and high in the shoulder. They will go, I bet you drop like a sack of potatoes.
Wait.
So,
Right
yep. I would aim, yep, that's fine, but where I like to shoot,
Did it just
right
move
there.
or is it you?
Yep.
No, he didn't move.
Even when you're shooting with a bow like that, they say the bone in here, it kind of goes like this and
Exactly.
like that, and you gotta get it right in there.
Yep, that's where I aim, right in between, because if you shoot high, you hit the scapula, he goes down, back lungs, front bone, bottom heart is right above the heart, where I like to aim.
What?
He's got character.
He sure does.
Kind of like you, Frankie. You got character.
You guys got.
You got a good kind of character. Day what? 4.
Yeah.
Take us through it, Brian.
Well, I was sitting there looking on my cell phone, and I was kind of trying to memorize this poem. And I looked up, and he was already into this right-of-way here. And I'm like, oh my goodness, he's going to get across here before I can get my gun out. I whipped it out there, though, and I looked at it, and I could see on this side it was kind of like 8-point. But then I saw all these stickers, and I'm like, no, I want him. Bang, down he went. That's it. That's all there was to it. And then Billy was out hunting Gary's buck, so he made me gut my own deer. Man, you have a guided hunt, and you have to gut your own deer. I don't know. I thought this was full service, Billy.
1% discount on your next hunt.
Okay, gotcha. Anyway.
If you carry it back on your shoulders.
They took a long time getting here, so I just sat down, ate my soup and my sandwich, and drank my coffee, and enjoyed the day. So, yeah, it's a great day. I love this thing.
So you've hunted deer before in South Carolina and maybe other places.
Mm-hmm.
So what made you want to come to Wisconsin? You know, what is it? You can hunt deer darn near anywhere,
No,
but to
I wanted
go
to
travel
get in with
somewhere.
Billy Molls so that I could be a experienced hunter and then maybe get on a ram hunt at some point. So the pressure's on now, Billy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you gotta gut your own whitetail. You gotta pack your own sheep. So
yeah.
We'll throw a hunt. Now he's got 1 day left of his hunt, Charlie. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna throw 120 pounds on his back, and then we're gonna drive him about 30 miles away. And then if he makes it back before it's time for him to go home to the airport, maybe he'll be a sheep hunter.
Maybe. That'd be a good test, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
No, congrats, man. Really nice buck, and yeah, that's a beauty. I'll have to do a double diamond.
He's gonna have to do
The old packing days.
He's gonna have horns in his back on the way back. That's what he's gonna have.
He's gonna have to go to the chiropractor after this.
Well,
Gonna have to go anyways.
Get an adjustment.
Time.
You kind of scared me.
Going nowhere but
You did
home.
not get first place there.
Well, yeah, but if it stays, The key to packing a mule, if it rides the first mile, it'll ride the next 100. So we'll see if it rides the first mile.
Yeah.
All right, well, if it stays, I'll just leave it on this thing and I'll just drive it all the way home, I guess.
Okay.
And you guys can hop in the trucks and we'll hang it.
What,
Jeff, what do you guys want to...
I gotta get a video of you driving up with that thing on the back.
Yeah, well, 2 years ago, clients Billy's got come hunting. Well, I like Lyndon or Landon too, or Lyndon from Australia. He was different. He came twice. So this Australian came. He came 1 year and then he missed 2 bucks that year. Billy shot big one. First morning, I put him on a stand, or I told Billy where to put him on a stand, and nice big buck come out. Well, I think he was using Billy's gun, wasn't he? Must have been a misfire or something. The buck come out right on cue, and he shot. And well, the neighbor said that he heard a shot, but it didn't sound like a rifle. Well, this Lyndon shot, and they figured he should have killed it. Well, it kept walking. He didn't shoot again. He never shot again. Well, here it was a misfire, we believe. So anyway, he didn't even hit it. So then later on that season, he could have shot a big buck that Billy ended up shooting. I don't know, Billy was with him. I don't remember the story of that. Well, then he came back the second year. So I was on the fur farm on one stand, and I saw a big buck come by, was chasing a doe, came through 2 shooting lanes. So I told Billy that, well, I saw a nice big buck last night. I said, it's between 140 and 160. He said, oh man, you didn't pass up a 140 or a 160 buck. I said, well, yeah. I said, I want Lyndon to get a buck. So next night they sat out there. Well, then it did come by, and Lyndon ended up shooting it. I think it was a 150. So that was a good memory. And then John and Jamie, I guess, this couple, first morning a couple years ago, they were out. Well, they both ended up shooting bucks about 7 o'clock. We usually don't shoot nothing the first weekend. Later on in the season, we shoot.
We're on a deer drive.
Chase him up. All right, Frankie, the wet part of the swamp is over there, so that's where we're gonna send Charlie. You and I will walk over here to the dry part.
No.
It's only like nose deep. So if you get wet, it's no big deal.
Well, years ago, we used the fur farm, and then we'd do the 80, what we called the 80 between the fur farm and Highway 63. There's a big swamp in between, and we'd drive the fur farm, and then we'd drive the 80 with, we had 13, 14 guys. I don't know, most, I guess, was probably 13, 14. And we'd drive it, have 2 guys standing, 3 guys standing, and 8, 10 guys walk through it. Of course, young kids would be zipping up ahead, and us older guys would be lagging behind, and we'd walk through the swamps. And if we did kick a deer up, it'd go back behind the kids that were going through the ridges or whatever. So anyway, we ended up, big gang dissolved, So nowadays, Billy and I usually drive it, just the 2 of us. It's 80 acres, and then the town's got a dump there, another 80 acres, long way. So we drive it by ourselves, and we just kind of mosey on through and, walking slowly. I mean, if you kick a deer, it alerts the other deer, you know, and then they normally just go through their normal corridors. Where years ago, you know, they'd smell hunters, see hunters, and well, in fact, I shot one time that was doubling back that I was lagging behind, but I don't know, there's 2, 3 kids up ahead of us when we had the gang, and all of a sudden here come a buck zipping back through us. I mean, we could almost see each other all the time, but they'd zip back between us, you know. They knew what was happening. And nowadays, all they know is, you know, that somebody's coming through and I'm just gonna mosey on out of here. Well, so now we know the corridors or where they go, and Billy will go and I go, and he knows where I'm gonna be and I know where he's gonna be, and we mosey on through. And for the last 4 or 5 years, every year we've chased the bucks where we want them to go. Well, maybe we don't if we don't see them, but I mean, we do chase deer. Always a buck comes where we want it to go, so that's, you know, it's unique nature, and you gotta study it. My dad would be proud of us, Billy. He always was proud of you. I don't know about me.
I can already see where this is gonna go. It's all gonna be interspersed with. Actually, I could see it. Like just interspersed with just stories. Like, yeah, you're gonna be kind of a legend, boy. And well, that's part of life is you want to, like, especially like leadership, is you want to lift people up. I think all you got to do is just give Dad 2 shots of whiskey. We've learned no more than 2, and just put a camera on him and let him talk. You know, I think he'll take care of the rest.
They come down that long slope that comes off to the back left corner.
Yeah.
They come down off that out in the middle of the pasture.
Really?
And I waited too long to shoot. I was just all over the place, and I should have just pulled the trigger and dropped him out in the middle.
Watch this.
When he was 100 yards
So you're
closer.
heading towards the northeast?
That one never drops.
Northwest. Oh, sorry.
It's
Yeah,
this
but if
one.
you come
First
down
you
the
gotta
hill.
see where it lands on your
Yep, so he
glove.
came down the hill and he
Go
was
right
headed
that way.
straight north,
Okay.
and then he ended up going all the way to the end by that fence at the end by the big oak.
You used to go way under.
Yep, so that's where we shot him, was down
Oh,
under
okay,
those
he was
oaks.
getting out
Excuse
there.
me, Charlie.
He was,
What'd you say,
he was
300?
about 300 is
Well,
what.
you wheel around then?
Nope, then he
Come on,
just
aim
went
right.
straight south.
Oh,
I can do it
South
on
and
this
then
one.
west into that
Oh, this is fun.
thick nasty.
okay.
So I guess that's the plan.
Gotta love your vest right there, Billy.
That's been around.
I guess so.
Well, it wasn't too high quality to begin with. I kind of thought it was, it's kind of a
Kind
throwaway
of looks
thing.
like it wasn't too high a quality. You don't have to tell us.
You don't wear that in Alaska, do you, orange?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Well, let's go get them, guys.
Yep.
All right.
Let's go get 'em, Gary.
Have at it.
Lord be with us.
Amen. Be safe, and
We're gonna see you tonight, right?
we'll do what we can do, and cards will fall where they may.
You have your map handy? Check that out and see what we got for landowners. I think we're pretty well known. So basically what we're going to do, Chris is going to take the trail. I'm going to take Gary and Brian, and we're going to kind of get out ahead of this deer. We're kind of hoping where he's at is like prime, super thick bedding area, so hopefully he didn't go far. And
That's neat.
look at that chickadee.
Is it on my head?
He's on the tip of your barrel.
Too cool.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's cool.
I felt him flutter my
Did you get a video of that?
I did. So hopefully we're gonna get in front of him and hopefully find him dead in his bed. But hopefully it works out one way or another. About a million scenarios. And
Yeah.
whatever we don't plan for, that's maybe what'll happen. But put our best foot forward, march on. So
Gonna give him heck.
Scope's on low power, safety's on. So here we go.
Hey, Frankie. Look over there.
Is it yellow snow?
Mm-hmm.
I just peed over there.
That's the good stuff.
All right, they're all ready for us. We're gonna go drive this piece, and hopefully we'll bump into the deer, or
we'll push them out to one of the guys. But the wind is blowing from the south, so it should kind of naturally wind bump them. Hopefully they'll just kind of transfer out the end and see if one of us gets a shot.
The life's mission of any farmer, any conservationist, is to steward their land and improve upon it and increase the productivity of it. And my grandpa did that, my dad did that. I'm coming in a season of opportunity to do that myself. And so I'm paying attention to things differently. And one thing that I see in my dad is he loves to share his, what I call his postage stamp of the earth with his kids, with his grandkids, and he really loves sharing it with the clients that I bring, these guys from around the world. And I think probably more than any other reason, he just knows that he's got fresh meat. He's got a new audience that hasn't heard all of his stories before. Well, no bueno tonight. Yeah, basically lost blood and deer all over the place. Found some more blood. It was another deer. Found a gut pile on a neighbor's land. So, yeah, bum deal. Thought we'd have a full camp, but guess that's the way it goes sometimes. The scripture says that it's better to give than receive. And I know that's what my dad has found in hunting and in his farm, is it has given him something to share, something that he loves and that he's passionate about. And each season brings new challenges, new friendships, new stories, and it's humbling and it's inspiring for me to see that everything that my dad and I are doing together is fueling the legacy that my grandpa started. So after the hunters had gone home, it was a day that I'd been looking forward to for a long time. The girls and I had been shooting .22s, shotguns, and rifles all summer long, and I knew that Charlie was ready for her very first deer hunt.
What do I see in Charlie? Oh, a little Spitfire, work ethic. Penny and I were talking about her the other day. Yeah, she's got good work ethic, and you know, yep, well, they're all loves of our life, you know. So, but in particular, yeah, Charlie's got something different, you know, about her. She's got a little bit of you in her, yeah.
Home sweet.
Probably just leave the rifle set right there. I'd say you want to be about, maybe a little bit more than that. About 6 power.
Today is December 9th, and we're hunting in the fish shack for does.
Yeah, it's doe only. The buck season's over, and we're going for Charlie's first
Deer.
Your first, have you shot any animals?
No.
No? It'll be your first animal. You got to just stay positive, stay focused, and always do your best. And just know that if you do that and you're learning along the way, your opportunity, whatever it is, will come. But you've got to be ready for it.
Why don't you just put your gun out? Like, just gotta pretend just to get comfortable. Pick one, pretend you're gonna shoot it. You don't want that one, then. Just get on the doe. I know you won't shoot it, but just get on the doe.
I'm on it.
Okay, you just gotta stay on it and follow it along, just for practice.
Okay.
Yes. Here, you go ahead and I'll move it. Get it.
Right.
Shot right there. I'll zoom you up when you're ready.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh God, can I shoot whenever I'm ready? Can I take out safety?
Yep. You ready, Chris? Yes. Go ahead. Yep, you go ahead. Go ahead, babe.
No, I'm turning on safety.
Okay.
He's not in a position.
Okay, go off safety.
Can I do it when I'm ready?
Yep, just right in front of the leg, right in the shoulder, right in the middle of the shoulder.
Oh God, I'm too scared to.
Take a deep breath.
Reload.
Oh, Dad, I don't know.
Wait. You hit it. You hit it. It's gonna die.
My ears.
Yeah, it's going down. You're okay. Yeah, you're ringing. Your ears are ringing a little. Yeah, the darn muzzle breaks. You're okay. Yeah, it's okay. You're okay. Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, I didn't think that would ring so bad. You're okay.
I just don't want to wound the deer.
Oh, it's okay. I think you got him. I think you got it. I think you made a good shot. I think you did just fine, Bubba. I'm pretty sure you made a good hit. Okay. You're okay? Are you crying because of your... They don't always drop. Where do you think you were on when you shot it?
Like where I needed to be.
Yeah? Yeah?
I just don't want to wound one, Dad.
I know, baby. I don't think you did. I think you made a good hit. It made a jump. It acted like you hit it perfect. Because it had its head down when it was running. The body language told me that you made a good hit. My guess is it's laying down there just barely out of sight. Were you nervous at all? No? I'm kind of glad that it happened fast. Yeah, you were pretty calm and cool. Did it feel good? Did you feel like you were on it when it went off? Well, then I bet you made a good shot. You didn't take much time. You shot pretty fast. But did you feel like you rushed it? Were you surprised when it went off? Yep, that's a good sign. The way it jumped and the way it had its head down, I think the thing's dead already. I really do. And so I think the blood trail is going to do one of two things. It's either going to dry up or it's going to increase. We're either going to probably find the deer in 200 yards or we're not going to find it at all. Fell down here. See that?
Yeah.
I think you got him, Bubba.
Well, why would it lay down and then go back
Well,
up?
it fell down. It's tripping. So that's a really good sign. Yep, it fell down right here again. A lot more blood. So, see how it's increasing?
Yeah.
So that's a good sign.
But it just feels like blood.
Let's keep our voices down. See it under the tree?
No.
I see him now.
See him?
Yeah.
Got it. You made a good shot. A little nerve-wracking? Yeah.
I just didn't want to wound one.
Ooh, yep, so not too bad. You probably clipped the heart would be my guess. Yeah. So yeah, where you wanted to hit was right there.
Yeah.
And that's why I say aim small, miss small. You don't want to aim for an area like this. You want to aim for right there. But hey, you did the job. That's a big deer. That's all the venison we need. We got one more at home.
I get to pick the circle meat.
Okay, all right, I like it. Yes. Thank you, Lord. Yeah, isn't that amazing how, I don't know, I don't see any other way than God put these animals on the earth to sustain us. Now, doesn't that make sense that we're going to take care of them and make sure that we don't shoot too many, or, you know, if they're in danger, or let's say there's some disease. I mean, like if you don't shoot if there's too many of them, then they get disease and then they die.
Yeah.
But as long as we just take kind of what we need, I believe that that's what God wants us to do. The Bible says to have dominion, to kind of take control over the beasts of the air and the things that crawl and all the animals and the plants. That's pretty cool. I mean, what a fun way. And I believe that by hunting and understanding nature, we learn more about God. I truly do believe that, because everything in nature has a purpose. Everything is connected. Like all these trees, like this tree that falls down, the deer, a lot of times they bed by those to hide.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because I mean, look at how well camouflaged they are.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's pretty cool, and I'm proud of you, Bubba. That's your first deer. What do you think?
Good.
Pushing or pulling?
So there was a bunch of deer coming and they were eating, and then it kind of stepped out for like a perfect opportunity for me to hit it. And I shot it and I felt confident about it, and we were tracking the blood, and it was like a couple of drops here and there, and then it stumbled a couple times, and then it was just laying under a tree.
I'm not leaving. I'll be here all night. You know I'm stubborn. Close your eyes.
No,
I won't put it
eyes.
in your mouth. I won't. No. Just let me. I'm gonna put it on your cheeks.
No, on my forehead.
No, on your cheeks. Come on.
No, just a dot.
Okay. Just a dot. Come on, one more. Come on, one more. You ever seen one of these before?
What, a deer?
Yeah. It's kind of like we all act like we've never seen one before, but it's Bubba's deer.
Ta-da! Woo!
So yeah, she made a pretty good shot. A little bit low, but
Congratulations, baby!
I have like a
Well, now when we eat food,
she said she gets to pick out the circle meat. So we smeared a little blood on her cheek.
ew, initiation.
Yeah. All right. Well, now you guys are neck and neck for deer totals.
Yep.
And we're gonna hang it and skin it. You wanna stay?
No,
stick
I
around?
gotta go pick up Frankie.
Gotta go do anything?
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
See ya.
Congratulations. Thank you.
You try not to cut any more hair than you have to. Try to keep it on the skin. Exactly. And you don't want to cut it this way. Frankie, she's just a little. Now you're gonna walk it this way. Get it pinched. Let her up. Okay, so now I'm gonna get a bucket. I'm gonna pull ahead. We'll make sure it's Yep, Italian sausage. Feeding the family. So my grandpa, he'd always wanted to hunt in Alaska, but he never made it. And so when I first started going there, I started filming my adventures so that I could bring the footage home and share it with him. And it's crazy to think that really molded my videos, because it was basically just home video. Any success that I've had is because I kept it simple. I tried to keep it honest so that I could just show my grandpa at the end of each season what hunting in Alaska was really like. And each season he'd ask new questions. So I'd film a little bit more in depth just to try to capture that flavor of the experience and the adventure so that my grandpa could live it vicariously through me. It was 2004. I came home from several months in Alaska. My grandpa was 96 years old and he was in the hospital for the first time in his life, and he had pneumonia. So I had one day to shower, wash my clothes before I hopped in my truck and drove to Idaho for 2 months. So I went to the hospital to visit him, and he had a peace about him. I'll never forget that. I think deep down he knew that he would probably never get out of that hospital, but we chatted a little bit, and when I left, he said, "Make sure you pack plenty of warm clothes, take lots of video, and I can't wait to hear about it when you get back." And I made it home on the day of his funeral, and it seemed kind of fitting that it was during the Wisconsin deer season when we buried him. And while you do it, you get tested, and you see things that nobody else will ever see, never be able to explain to anybody. It's a thing of beauty. I was 40-some years old. I'd just finished summiting this mountain, packing out a doll ram out of the Brooks Range, and I stopped at the top. I sat down. I was exhausted. My client was a ways behind me, so I was just waiting for him to catch up, watching the sunset, and I was just reflecting on my life, and it just struck me, like, hit me in the face. I realized in that moment the reason why I loved hunting so much is because that was the best, most intimate, personal time that I ever got to spend with my dad. I have a hard time finding peace and calm and just utter peace in the real world. I get wrapped up in it, but here I always find it. It's always been that way for me as a kid. No matter what, I could be depressed or upset or worried or anxious, and I'd just go to the woods, go trapping, fishing, or just hiking around, and I just something about it just helped me find calm and peace ever since I was a little kid. And maybe it's because I noticed that with my dad. I kind of think that's why I loved it, is my dad, hardest working man I know. We were always on the brink of bankruptcy farming as a kid. It was stressful, it was hard. My parents did the best they could. My mom is an incredibly hard-working woman. I don't know. If anybody works harder than my dad, it might be my mom. I don't know. We always had food on the table, but boy, life was stressful. And I could see it on my dad, big time, and my mom, but particularly my dad. But when we were hunting or trapping, that's all we were doing. And I think that's why I love it, because I got to see my dad at peace. There was no pressure of being overdrawn at the bank. There was no talk of school. It was just me and him. I got to know who he was and who he is. And those are some of the best memories of my childhood. When he bought me my own .22, my own rifle, it was like handing me the keys to a kingdom. He set me loose, and some of the greatest experiences in my life were on Lightning Creek, trapping by myself. They were in the fur farm. I'd get lost all the time, and I loved it. I loved that adventure, and when I look back at it now, I realize that Lightning Creek was my Yukon River. The fur farm was like my mini Alaska. That is where the seed of my adventurous spirit was planted, and that's what led me to Alaska. I see it now, plain as day, but it took me about a decade of exploring the wilderness of Alaska and hunting before I really, truly surrendered my life to Jesus Christ and began to understand the love and the depth of that love of our Heavenly Father. And in the same way, I was drawn to hunting because I got to know my father, my earthly father. I believe that's why I and probably every hunter out there, that's why they're drawn to nature. We can feel God's peace. We can see His handiwork. We can see the connectivity, the harmony, and the purpose of everything. And Romans 1:20 says, "For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, His eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse." That is why hunters go hunting. There is a peace in nature that they don't get in the outside world. And I find the more we stick to that, study that, focus on that, that is what really transforms our lives, our perceptions, and that's what will foster and become the seed of our relationship with God. And so now here we are. I'm guiding deer hunters with my dad and my family in Wisconsin on my grandfather's land, sharing stories about my grandpa, his life, his parents, and sharing the greatest story ever told, the gospel of Jesus Christ, with hunters around the world. And now I'm taking my daughters hunting, passing the torch, so to speak, hopefully fostering my grandpa's legacy. And in doing so, I know, because looking back, I know that what I'm doing with my daughters, with my family, is we are creating some of the most foundational memories that they will ever experience in their lives. No, on your cheeks. Come on.
No, just a dot.
Okay. Just a dot. Come on, one more.
If I could go back in time, any hunting season, I guess it'd be in Moose Junction with Dad and Gus Splett and Eddie Ross and Larry Koenig and I, young kids just looking excited to be up there with those old guys that knew how to hunt. If you shot a buck, the celebration was you got to have some pie. We didn't eat pie until we shot a buck. So, I mean, how much simpler can you get?
Perhaps the earliest memory of my life, I was trapping with my grandpa, and we were setting traps along this muddy bank, and he kept asking me if I saw that sign, and I'm thinking stop sign, and I'm not saying anything because I don't know what he's talking about, but he would point out, that's a beaver, that's a muskrat, and he'd put that trap, and he knew that they were going to put their foot right there. And I'm like, how does he know that? I realized my grandpa knew a language that I didn't understand, and I was enthralled by it, and I wanted to figure it out. It was the language of nature. And ever since then, I've been consumed by it. And when I look back at it now, I can see how God wove that all together. And after all these adventures and all the places that I've been, he brought me right back here. He brought me back to him, and he brought me back to live just a couple miles from where I grew up. And I sit here today, 45 years old, and I can't think of any place that I'd rather be.
For more modern-day Mountain Man DVDs and digital downloads, log on to BillyMollsAdventures.com. Here you'll also find books, a wide variety of merch, and information on hunting opportunities with Billy. When he's not hunting, Billy travels nationally and internationally as a public speaker, sharing his captivating, soul-stirring tales of adventure by way of his one-of-a-kind, down-to-earth delivery at corporate and community events, Christian outreaches, and conservation organizations. Just like the Alaskan wilderness, no one leaves a Billy Molls presentation the same person as they enter it. Log on or call for more info.
Why are you recording this?
That was a good one.
I can't wait to hear this.
We're golden. Oh, yeah, you'll love this one.
What's the story?
After I shot the buck, was sitting in the stand, just waiting for Billy to show up or what we wanted to do. And I had an urge hit me. And I looked at Chris and I said, you think Joe would mind if I walked up to his house? Because I thought that was your house right there. And use the bathroom. He goes, oh no, they won't mind, just go. So I go and walk.
Where are you standing right now?
Fish shack.
Oh, the shack. Oh, okay.
So I walk around to the back door. Nobody comes to the door. Knock, knock, and the urge is getting worse. Knock, knock, knock. So finally, tried the door, and the door was unlocked. So I walk in the mudroom and up the 4 flights of stairs, and I knock on that door, and the dog comes over and jumps on the door and starts barking. And she finally comes, and I go, would it be okay if I use your bathroom real quick? You know, we're hunting out here. And I get this. I get this, deer in the headlight looks like, who are you? And I go, we're hunting with Billy Molls. Oh, okay, yeah. I go, this isn't Joe's house? Well, first of all, I couldn't remember what you look like, and I go, yeah, we met the other day over at Billy's house. And so she goes, well, I guess it'd be okay, come on in. And she goes, you look like an honest guy. I said, yeah, I'm okay. I only have 3 felonies on my record. Then I told her I was from California, and she got real worried. But she was the nicest lady.
What's the chances of going up and using Joe's bathroom?
Oh, probably 100%. I don't think they'd mind at all.
Doesn't hurt. It's not going to hurt at this point to get out and walk.
Not in the slightest.
Yeah, I'm going to go take a dump.
Yep.
Hi, Mrs. Molls. I hear we owe you something. I thank you for your very kind hospitality to our guests.
Here, Charlie. I just got done telling. Come here, folks.
This is Chris. He's my
Chris.
cameraman, and if you're
Chris,
so inclined
do you have
to allow
to go
us
to the
to use
bathroom?
this.
Not yet.
Mariah and Kelly, come here. They won't come. I just told them about this story.
Okay.
Because it's crazy, right, Charlie?
Yeah, they thought you guys were like, you were petty because he has a
Yes. I had my robe on, Billy.
Oh, you didn't mention that.
I had my robe on, and then I don't know this person, and then of course I let them in, and then I did ask, are you dangerous? Are you a dangerous man? And he said, I have 5 felonies. And then he said he was from California.
Then you got really nervous.
It's like, what the heck? And then I just told my family that what will happen to me is I'm a helpful, kind person,
Yeah.
and then as I get older, Billy.
Yeah, no good deed goes unpunished, so.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, we were rolling about that one, so we were trying to figure out what we could do.
I said, well, you tell Billy that you just used his first grade teacher's bathroom. Is that what he told you?
Yeah, pretty much verbatim, yeah.
He was more meticulous than I was. He wrote everything down.
I don't remember you writing much stuff down.
Like your daughter was surprised I could even read.
Did you forget it?
You're definitely wearing that wig tonight.
He forgot his gun. Are you kidding? Are you kidding?
Just leave me alone.
Just leave. You know what? We should just put him in a stand and make him sit there with no gun. That's punishment. That's what I would do to you kids.
Yeah, you would.
All right. I think I've officially seen it all now.
Oh, when you started snaring cats in the barn probably. Hunting and trapping. Well, when you caught that possum too, that was a experience, you know. Well, I wasn't around even. We were pheasant hunting when you caught that possum, and Grandpa Rocco went with you when you caught a beaver one time or a raccoon that he thought you were lost or something. Those are the kind of experiences. You know, I'm glad Grandpa Rocco, he was a great grandpa too. Great grandpa, yep. So you were blessed with great grandparents. Yeah. That's what children are missing nowadays, you know. Grandpa and Grandma stayed with us, or Grandpa stayed with us. My mother's father stayed with us. And
yeah, that is a big
we have
buck.
to compare everybody's buck.
Yeah. What do you think, girls? Is it pretty exciting?
It's really big.
I had the Charlie and Frankie luck.
Yeah, Charlie's stand.
Yep, at Charlie's stand.
Yeah.
Got one at Frankie's last year and got one at Charlie's this year.
It's all because of
We've
That
killed.
may not be a good sign. I'm out of girls, so
Yeah,
what am I gonna do?
We'll have to make a Matea stand.
we had to break camp every day moose hunting in Alaska, yep. He wanted me to get a 70-incher, you know, so we had to go farther up, kind of like his grandpa, you know. New territory, we had new territory, had to find new territory. Well, we saw this big buck one day, and I said, well, I know what Grandpa would do. He'd sit here the next day and wait for that sucker to come out. He'd kill it. So we sat there all day. Of course, moose hunting and whitetail are different, so we never did see it. We ended up did getting a big one, or I did, but I still remember that one moose. We were going up the river, and all of a sudden, down out of the bank come this big bull moose, not too far in front of us, came into the river. Well, Billy was pushing a boat in the shallows. It was pretty shallow there, and I was sitting in the front of the canoe, and this bull come down. It was cool in the morning. It was misty. Most beautiful sight I've ever seen in the nature. And this bull saw us. I don't know if he smelt us or what. Snorted. He ran straight down the river, steam coming out, and he was splashing. Oh, I can still picture that to this day. It It was the prettiest thing I ever seen.
Well, let's drag him out. We'll get him out in the open and we'll check him out. All right, Jim, you drag and we'll watch.
Okay.
The girl said the guy who shoots the buck is the guy who forgot his rifle this morning.
Just the two of them went to Canada. It was December. End of moose hunting up there, and they drove up there. I can't believe they made it all the way with that old farm, just an old two-wheel trailer. He had that snowmobile on. They went up there. Dad, they pulled in up there, I don't know, it was by Kenora. And so they stopped alongside of an old road, and I guess a guide came along and was wondering what they were doing. And while they were moose hunting, he said, well, you guys hunt for 10 days. And he said, I'll tell you right now, you might as well guide or hire me as a guide. You won't shoot anything. And my dad said, well, he said, we'll try it on our own. Well, this guide would just drive around the roads to find fresh tracks. And, then he knew where the moose were, But Dad was an old deer hunter, he'd just take off on his own. Old Norman Wright, he wasn't quite the avid outdoorsman my dad was, but, he wasn't afraid to get out in the big woods. So my dad ended up, he shot 2 bull moose. Well, one had lost its horns already. It was a big old bull. I would have loved to seen those horns. He had shot a smaller one. Well, they were together, and he was about 2 miles back. So he had gutted them out, and ended up, found a trail to get back there. He took a day or two to get back to him to find the trail to get to the moose. So he had hooked them both together behind his old homemade snowmobile trailer, or snowmobile, and pulled them out of the brush and got them to the road. And when he got to the road here, this guide came by. He looked and he said, you shot him on the road? My dad said, no, we shot him a couple miles back. If you want to follow the tracks, you can go find where I shot him. So then he was amazed. He said, well, what are you going to do with him now? And he said, well, load him up whole. My dad just took a pole and shoved him up inside the moose and pushed him up into the pickup, on the bank. My dad was innovative. Backed the pickup down in the ditch and just took a pole and took his old snowmobile and stuck this pole into the moose's innards and shoved them up into the pickup. So he loaded both of them up into the pickup and took them out whole. So that guide couldn't believe that, somebody from the States could come up there and do that, So that's the way my dad operated.
What did he say about he'd rather didn't want to go to the city? There was nothing he wanted in the city, but he'd rather go to...
Got a little off course there, didn't I?
And I just heat it up and turn it into liquid and pour it in the mold.
Well, very good. You got a copper bar.
What's that weigh?
Yep. Hey, I tell you what, like, if this is gold next year, you can come back anytime. Thank you, Brian.
Somebody wanted to go to Chicago. Well, I got uncle in Chicago, and my mom wanted to go visit Bill Lawhorn in Chicago. My dad said, well, you can go visit Bill. I don't want to go to Chicago. He said, I'd sooner go up to Canada and find fresh moose shit than go to Chicago, he said.
So Brian found a bear just kind of cuddling up for hibernation, I think.
We're gonna go check it out.
We're gonna go check it out. Hopefully we don't get jumped.
I always say I missed 2 years of school. Used to be able to miss 30 days of school, and I usually miss 30 days of school. I know a couple times that the principal or teachers would complain that I was missing too much school, but like I said, that's why I can't read now.
No, it's just, well, it must be standing up though.
You love to shoot those things.
That look looks like a big one. Not a very big bear. He's just sitting there with his head down.
That's actually scary. Get film it up. How does it not?
I don't know. He's just in a lethargic state. He's meditating.
It might die. Mom, I'm the one who broke the face.
So I was sitting there, and all of a sudden this deer comes running towards me, and I see these two ugly little horns. I wish I'd have saved the rack. Saved it for years and threw it away. I should have saved it. But anyways, this buck comes, and I hit him. First shot, and he went down, but he was still kicking. I just kept hammering, you know. I think I missed him on the second, third, and fourth shot. Well, then he went down. He was down in this hill below me, and so I reloaded my gun, and I knew it was going to be slippery because we had fresh snow, so I didn't want to walk down there with my gun. I just figured, well, I'll leave it back up here on the trail because we're going to have to come back up here with the trail anyways to drag the deer up here anyway. And so I go back down there, and as I'm so excited, I got my first buck. I mean, it was the happiest day of my life. And all of a sudden I hear crash, 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 and I'm like, what in the heck? And here comes this buck. I don't think it was like that big, but it was bigger than the one I shot. And he just stops about 30 yards away, and he looks right at me, and I didn't have my gun. But it didn't matter because I had my first buck. So the deer runs off. And then pretty soon Dad comes around the corner. And I'm like, I got him, Dad, I got him, you know? And he's like, oh yeah, you know, it's kind of no big deal to him, you know, Grandpa. And then I'm like, yeah, and then as I was sitting here, I left my gun up there because I thought I was so proud of myself because I was being safety conscious, right? I came down here to check him out, and then as I was here looking at him, I heard a crash, and here comes this other buck, and he ran right towards me, and he stopped and looked right at me. He's like, well, why didn't you have your gun with you? So I shot my first buck. It was the best day of my life, and Grandpa yelled at me. Didn't just yell at me, like reamed me out for being a dumb kid.
Same ones we saw before.
Yeah, so I was waiting for the big one to come out with them because they were with him that 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
And then we did see that doe with that gash on her side again. Yeah. She clearly got shot, but she's
Really?
fine. Yeah.
Well, I bet you the
I'm
neighbor.
guessing with an arrow is what it looks like. It looks like it was a very steep angle, kind of right across her chest. Yeah.
Take her saying, well, the neighbors were mowing too, the one that cussed me out for, chasing deer.
Chasing deer off the property.
Yeah, Joe Molls, how would you have handled that? The guy that confronted and accosted you about running deer away from him 20 years ago, how would you have handled that situation?
No comment.